Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Braun, and I am going to show you how to put Flubaroo into a Google form. What I'm showing you right now is that a Chapter 32 quiz that I made for my advanced placement biology class. I went through, I made the questions on Google Forms. I can add a question, change my font. I could even put videos and pictures into my Google form. But what I chose to do is I have a drop-down menu. So if you see here, I created my document, my first two questions. What is your name? What is your email address? I need to put that on there so that I can identify the student when it comes up on my spreadsheet. So when I created the problems, here is the mesoderm. I've got a drop-down menu. I can make it multiple choice. The writing check boxes. This is from a matching quiz that I originally had. So what I did is I made a drop-down menu. So for my first set of questions, I have 8 possible answers on my drop-down menu. So that was for the first questions. Then I come down to question number 9. It's my second set. So on my second set, I only have 7 answers on my drop down. Once again, it is matching. So I have created my document. Alright. What I need to do, and here's one of the problems that people forget. If I would give this link right here to the kids, to my students, they would be coming up on this actual form, so they would be editing my form. That is not what I want. So what I'll do is I'll come up here to this little eyeball, and I'll click that, and that is preview. This is going to show me what this will look like to my kids when they're going through. Alright? So what I do on this, if I wanted to give it to the kids, I don't want to give this big long name right here. So I've got my Google shortener right here, and I kick my shortener up, and it has now made this. I would write down this right here because this is my page that I would give to the kids. So I just shorten my Google Doc right there, the address into a shortener on Google Docs. Now, the first thing I need to do when I have this in the preview is I need to make my answer key. So how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to write, my initials, and then I'm going to put key. So when it comes up on the spreadsheet, I'll see DB and I'll see key. So when I go down, I'm going to answer all of my questions. Well, I've already done this, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. So once I get done answering all my questions, I hit submit. This page will tell me, yes, you have submitted your questions, and that's all that the kids will have to do once they take the quiz. Now, when I came back to my original that I'd made, here are my questions. Right here it says responses. Now, something neat with this, if you don't want it graded, you could just look here, and it will give you nice little charts that tell you what your kids were answering, or it could also give you their individual answers. So as you can see, here was what, when I made my answer key, my answers were. Now obviously I made the key, so hopefully they're right. Now let's talk about the grading part. How do I get Flubaroo to grade this guy? Well, what I need to do is I need to go to my responses here, and right here is view responses in Sheets. So Sheets is just really Google's Excel. So I click on that. The first time you do it, it'll ask you whether you want to open it into a new one or use an existing one. The first time you do it, open into a new one. This one I'm going to open to an existing one because I already got my key, and you'll look. Only one response on there was because I was the one that put it on there. Now, in order to get Flubaroo to do your grading for you, you need to come up and hit add-ons. Now, I've already put Flubaroo into this document, so when I click it down here, it's going to say grade assignment. Okay, but when you click it down onto Flubaroo, it's going to say something like, put this Flubaroo into my document. It'll be the very top one here. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to hit that, and it'll say working, 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 and it'll actually put Flubaroo into your document. All right, so that's a big part of it. Now, since I've only got one response here, if I come here and ask Flubaroo to grade it, it's going to say, I'm working on grading this, and it's going to say, wait, there's only one response. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to a spreadsheet of a vocab quiz I gave last week. Actually, I gave it a long time ago on, well, not a long time ago, right here, March 4th. Okay, so if you look, here is my answer key. I made the answer key in 2013. It's been there for ever since then. So I've got my answer key, and you can see that the responses on the spreadsheet of all the kids that took the quiz. All I need to do to grade this is come back up to Flubaroo add-ons right here, go to Flubaroo, and it says, okay, grade the assignment. Now this one's going to be regraded because I've already graded it. So I hit the regrade, and Flubaroo will come up and say, okay, do you want to replace these? Yeah, because I'm just showing you how to work the Flubaroo. Now, here's one problem that I have on the MacBook is that you cannot see down at the bottom of some of the buttons you need to hit. So I need to take my little green button up there to make it bigger. There's my continuous button. Now, if you remember, my first two questions were, what is your name? What is your email address? These are to identify the students. So when I'm grading it, I don't want to put normal grading because they'll give you a point for that. All right, so I just put identify students, so that means, see how it's not shaded here? They're not going to grade those guys. Now, I can change my point values anywhere from 1 to 10. When I give my vocab quizzes, they're worth, 10 questions worth 20 points, so they're 2 points apiece. So if you look all the way down, I have normal grading, and they're 2 points apiece. All right. So now the 10 questions, 2 points apiece, it's going to be 20 points, and once again, I've got my identifiers up at the top. So I'm going to continue on. So I hit continue. Flubaroo says, okay, now what do you want me to use as the answer key to grade your form? Well, obviously, I put my key in here already because I've answered the questions. I want to use my key. Now, I could click down here and have Zach Vogel's answers be the ones that grade the key, but I don't know if Zach got them all right. I know my answer key's right, so I'm going to use the DB, the key, hit continue, and I'm going to give Flubaroo a little bit of time, and it says it could take a minute or two. Usually it does not take a minute or two to grade these, but it's going through, I think in these two classes I've got 30, 40, 50 some kids. I think probably around 40. So it'll take a little bit to grade it. All right. I'm not a very patient guy, so why this is grading this, I'll explain down here. What you're going to get, it's going to spit out little things like this. It'll say student submissions, which I have here, and it's going to also say grades. Okay, so since I'm just regrading this and it's already been graded, I'm going to show you. I'm going to just exit out of this, and this will be what pops up when Flubaroo is done grading it. So you can see 20 possible points. The average score for my kids were 15.2. 35 kids put it in. The number of low scoring questions were 3. So as I scroll over, right there are my 3 low scoring questions, and if I even want to know, 51%, 54, 51 got those questions right. Okay, so those were kind of low scoring, but if you look at the other ones here, 100, 97, 91, those were pretty high scoring questions. So, when I go back, let's see, what am I looking at? Well, I'm looking at what day, Zach Vogel on the 3rd or on the 4th, Zach Vogel, Zach's email address, he scored a 20 out of 20. So I guess I could have used his for the key. Come back down here, and you can look at these people, and you can see their scores. Anyone, I think it's 60% or lower, are going to come out in red for you. Okay? So, that'll grade you. I'll look, and what I will do then is into progress book, I will put the total points that they got. So, in short, that is just my presentation on how to embed Flubaroo into your Google form. If you have any questions, please feel free to give me an email, and I will try to help you out. All right? Thanks for listening.